The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Terry Doran. This is Theater for Ideas you're watching, and we're talking about Fort Wayne memories in the 50s, 60s,
Oh,
and now, and a focus on Christmas celebration, then and now, what has been lost uh, between the 50s and now, what has been gained. I will be dropping in some inserts from a show I did in 2010 called When It Was a City. Those will be dropped in after we're done with Zoom. And I'm going to start then with introducing the guest. This is Paul New. And Paul, thank you. Welcome to Theater for Ideas.
well, thank
This
you,
is
sir.
Theater for Ideas, a different time. Theater for Ideas tradition has always been an audience, live
Are you
discussion,
are you
but
alone?
we can't do it because of the pandemic.
Are you alone? Are you alone there where you are?
Yeah,
You can take your mask off, can't you?
I look better with the mask on. I would.
That's funny you should say that. I know a gal that's. I know when she was 13 years old, she now sits next to Michael Bloomberg in the Bloomberg building. She's on radio for Bloomberg Radio, and I always told her, "You're so pretty, you should be on TV." She says, "I look better on radio."
All right, I'll agree with that in terms of myself.
Got two more
And
people coming
yeah,
in.
Michael Wilhelm, who's a playwright. And pleasure to meet you, Michael, and thank you for joining us.
We have one
And
more person coming in.
we'll get to and Patty Hunter. Patty works with me on river drums and anything
River.
else I'm cooking up like tonight. So thank you, Patty, for all your help. And we will start the show with, I guess, I wrote an op-ed. I'm just going to read it. And I think it encompasses the theme that we're talking about. In the 1950s, Fort Wayne enjoyed a thriving downtown, teeming with people who shopped at locally owned and operated stores like Wolf and Dessars, where customers and employees reigned supreme. They arrived on the electric trolley, passenger trains rolled in and out of Baker Station with regularity. Residents who worked at places like International Harvester and General Electric had their jobs for life. Family farms had fertile soil. The word outsourcing did not exist. Students went to a neighborhood school called Central, where black and white kids mingled with not much trouble. Next door stood Central Catholic. Busing had not been invented.
Hmm.
America is completely dominated, unfortunately, in my opinion, by corporations, including media from the national to the local level. Downtown ended because of the automobile, which ruled thanks to a systematic campaign from General Motors with the help of Congress to demolish the trolley. When it when it came the rule of the corporation, and with it came the rule of the corporation and the end of beauty. Farmland is given way to shopping malls. You know, we used to have
Right.
food that actually came out of the ground, the farm. Now it's all manufactured food, or a lot of it is. Um,
Not the same either, is it? No.
what I yearn for, it's easy to talk about the past like it's perfect. It was not perfect, but
Nope.
because I grew up in the 50s, it has a strong hold on me. And if you want to say one thing for Christmas about Fort Wayne, Indiana, it's got to be the department store, Wolf and Dessars, that I mentioned in the beginning. Wolf and Dessars created a place of magic for kids and adults. They had elves that moved in the window display. You had hundreds of people standing watching. And then at the top of Wolf and Dessars, on the side of the building, was a wreath that said Merry Christmas, all lit up. And then on the other side was Santa Claus and his 8 reindeers. A tremendous engineering feat, creative feat. And that was, to me, a child, the memory of Fort Wayne Christmas. And I want to thank Channel 39. The inspiration for the show came with their program that they did in 1994 called Home for the Holidays. Now, they've been very kind to let us refer to it, to look at it, but they have a rule that you can't play their show on another channel, so we can't use drop ins. But When It Was a City has a lot of pictures, and we'll be dropping those in after the show.
I
So
gotta,
thank you. And I see Paul Brandt up there. Hi, Paul. A great friend, helps me a lot. So,
Don't forget
oh,
anybody
Paul.
Jody.
Hey,
with
Paul, how
Christmas
are you?
memories?
Don't forget
I
Jody.
don't know who grew up in Fort Wayne. Paul did.
I did.
Did you, Michael?
Yeah, more in the 60s.
Are you a young man? Lady.
You want to share some memories of a Christmas in Fort Wayne?
Well, to me, I mean, the definitive Santa Claus was obviously Phil. I remember going to see him every year. One time we actually got on television, but they only had that going for like a half an hour during the day. I mean, he was there, I think, all day long, taking requests from kids. But for 1/2 hour of that day during the weekday, WKJG would broadcast that, and I think we actually got on once. But yeah, he was the quintessential Santa.
Oh, yeah. He's featured in the documentary I just mentioned. He was
Yes,
Santa
a
Claus.
wonderful interview with him.
Yeah, wonderful interview. And hundreds, thousands of kids, no doubt, have a memory of
Mhm.
Phil, and including me. And
I
Paul
remember
Brandt,
the
you grew
window
up in Fort
displays.
Wayne. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Michael.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I remember the window displays. I mean, when I remember when Dad would take us out to go Christmas shopping, it was equivalent to taking us to Cedar Point because we would go out and we would go to Wolf and Dessauers. That was the Mecca, and we would stand for hours looking at the animated displays that they had in the windows. In fact, that documentary that you mentioned had some of those, and I was like, oh wow, I remember that one. So they probably had the same one over and over and over, but then we would go into the store, and the store was all decked out. I mean, it was like going into an amusement park. You had a train ride, you had Santa there, and then you had the wee wand shop where you could go shopping, and your mom and dad weren't allowed to go in there with you, so you could pick out whatever you wanted for your mom and dad, and then they wouldn't know what you bought them.
It would have done Walt Disney proud, really.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh,
Although, the
it-
good thing he didn't know about it, he probably would have ended up buying it.
And you just gave a very good description, very vivid description. And, I think that to me, what is missing compared to then is a sense of community, of so many people standing together and watching all of what we're talking about. Now, they have, to Fort Wayne's credit, those displays, the wreath and Santa Claus, were taken down and lost for years, decades,
Mhm.
and a couple guys restored them. Took them 5 years to do it, and now they put them on the Fort Wayne National Bank. So there is some of that community still restored. And I do want to mention my hat, the Wildcat baseball hat.
Oh, I
Because
remember Wildcat
one of
baseball.
the things that I think is great about Fort Wayne now, and I think Wildcat's about 55 years old, somewhere in that, because my daughter played, this is her hat, she played on their 50th anniversary, which was about 10 years ago.
Was that
So
the girls? Was that the
around
girls?
60 years now. But the beauty is everybody plays. It's not a tryout where you look at the list and oh my gosh, my name's not on it. So anyway, salute to Wildcat baseball. Jody, I see Jody. I saw Jody's over here somewhere. Jody DePoy. There's Jody.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hi, Jody.
Hi.
You grew up in Huntington, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Huntington.
And you are a single mom. So what's your memories of Christmas then and now? What's different?
How different? I don't know. Maybe not so different. I grew up, I was born in the 70s, just to let you know.
That's okay.
So, but I do remember Huntington having that. In the documentary, they mentioned that they had one that went down to Huntington. Huntington did put that up. I mean, like when I was a tiny, tiny child, I can remember that going up in like the downtown mall part of it. I can remember that display still going up. The giant wreath that they had at the beginning, where they said they had one in Fort Wayne and one in Huntington. I can remember that. And as far as the other memories that I have, I can remember coming to Fort Wayne to look at like some of the windows on the embassy. I can remember being able to go to Santa Claus. We went to Santa Claus, I think, at the mall. Glenbrook Mall had Santa Claus. I can remember that. And now so much with me having Sloan, we really like to go out and see when the displays light up on the night before Thanksgiving. And I think that you really can tell that there's a giant sense of community, especially if you wait out in the cold. And, a lot of times they'll have singers and entertainers and people just like in a holiday spirit. And, that's going to be some of my best memories of her growing up is, waiting out there with her, going down to see those things, and then getting to go to the gingerbread festival, and then getting to go to the Festival of Trees. And she's performed a couple times at Festival of Trees with Fort Wayne Children's Choir. And those are going to be, I mean, those are some awesome memories that that hopefully we're just going to keep going and make more.
Yeah, keep them going. They were in the movie, so they must be a pretty long time tradition. Because that movie was focusing on Fort Wayne 50s, 60s, 70s, somewhere around in there. And Sloan's your daughter, we should make clear. And well, thank you. Where's Paul? I saw Paul somewhere.
He's plugging in. Plug it in. Plug it in.
He was having computer problems, so maybe he
He's not off.
had to skip out.
He's on mute right now. He has to unmute himself.
He has the same problem in the studio.
Yeah, where'd you grow up, Paul?
Well, I'll tell you, I was going to bring that up. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which reminded me of a little bigger city than Fort Wayne when I first came here in 1961, June 4th, to the Van Orman Hotel. And
Oh, wow. I played Little League for the Hotel Van Orman. They were our sponsor. Go ahead.
And he brought the Comets to town back in the 50s. I came here in 61, June 4th. I remember it like it was yesterday, and I'm still playing. But what I remember in Pittsburgh, we used to have Gimbals, Kaufmans. They're gone. And just like you say, I remember that store that you're talking about because I was here in 61. And I used to go to that store. And I remember the windows and the beautiful things that you have here in town. We had the same thing in Pittsburgh. But this town has been like a second home to me. I was here for like 5 years. We outpriced ourselves. Because we got better. And I came back again in '89 at the opening of Pierre's. I worked for Stan Lydell for about 17 years. But I remember Fort Wayne. I remember all this. Remember the old days we used to have salesmen. You don't have them anymore. And they had expense accounts. And they told me, the salesman that I met said the best town they loved was Fort Wayne back in that day, says because everything was downtown. And
Yeah.
I remember that one bar that had a girl on a swing. I can't remember the name of it. Then there was a trolley bar. I remember that. And I met, there was a club right next to Johnny's Nightcap. Bud Miller became a friend of mine. He was one of the first guys that I met here, Bud Miller. Then he went over to another place that he had. And I did really well here because I met a guy named uh, Al Russell. He was a DJ on WGO downtown. And he loved Bobby Darin. In 1961, I did all of Darin's songs. He was the number one guy. And I used to go on his radio show every night. And we talk about Bobby Darin, we'd spin records. And because of him, we packed the house within the 3 days. And Fort Wayne has been like a second home to me. I'm back again. I was gone for a long. I've been here 31 years now, and I was here back in the days you're talking about because I remember I used to do a song called "Artificial Flowers" by Bobby Darin. I'd go to walk to the what's the 5 and 10 cent store? What was it? It was downtown. I can't think. What do you call that? The old 5 and 10 downtown. Uh,
You guys remember?
it was downtown.
The diamond nickel?
No, one of the old ones, they're gone now. What's it? Woolworths. You had a Woolworths downtown. And I used to go buy plastic roses and spray them with girls' perfume, and I'd give them out when I sang the song about the roses. But I have a lot of memories of this town, and I remember the salesman saying this was their favorite town to come to because everything was downtown. And as you know, it went west and north and south, and now they're trying to revive it again with the mayor and all the things they've been doing with Parkview Field and stuff. So I think they've done a good job at that. But I love the city. It's been very good to Paul. You know.
Thank you. That's
Am
the
I on
key. It
now?
was all down.
Yes, you are. You're on now, Paul.
And
You're
I know
hearing me
Fort
good.
Wayne is putting a lot of energy and money into revitalizing downtown, but from my memory, it will never be the same, but maybe it'll be better for kids today. Anyway, Patty, you grew up in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
What was your Christmas like in Canada?
Hockey.
Hockey, yeah.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
I was
Yeah,
small.
Toronto, Canada.
Hey,
Toronto, huh?
I was smaller than I am now, living in Toronto, Ontario. We would have trees, big trees come in the night before Christmas. Dad would put them downstairs to thaw out, and we would have coal furnace instead of the gas heat. I remember that. I remember it being cold. Dad would have to get up in the middle of the night and shovels coal into the furnace. And we got lots of gifts. My mom used to make bassinets out of wooden crates that had potatoes or apples in them. And she made bassinets out of them. She made clothing for our dolls that we had. And my mom made all our clothes, especially for winter time. And Christmas, it was my best. It was my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, we had a coal furnace too.
We had Eaton's and Simpson's in the Bay. All department stores are no longer there. Animated.
Yeah, my funniest memory of Christmas, we always went to Christmas Eve church and then opened our presents.
Yeah.
So
We did
if the
too.
idea was to indoctrinate us into our church's religion, you sort of resented the church because you just wanted to get home and open the presents. But that was our tradition. My dad was a big advocate of Christmas Eve, and he would often have a friend.
Yeah.
My dad was a self-made businessman, so he had guys working for him, and they'd show up in a Santa Claus uniform and pass out presents. And I can remember another tradition was looking for going out and getting the Christmas tree. There weren't any artificial trees, I don't think, in the 50s. So you go to these lots where they had hundreds of trees, and you just pick them out. The one tree that was perfect, and it always had to be big, couldn't be a little tree. And we decorate that tree with all kinds of lights and ornaments. And one year, for reasons I can't remember how it happened, we had a pet monkey of all things, a monkey. It was a good pet, but it got loose. We couldn't find it anywhere in the house. We were starting to panic. We loved the little guy. We thought something happened to him. We looked everywhere, under couches and under beds, in closets, and it's a monkey. They can climb anyway. We're looking and we're down the basement, and all of a sudden we hear this little noise, and we're like, "What's that?" And there's the monkey on top of the Christmas tree. Talk about a decoration to top off the tree. You can't beat a monkey, let me tell you that.
2020 is a great year to reflect upon Christmases past. Let's walk a bit into the past and see a Christmas tree from the 1940s. Oh, where is it? Looks to me like it was in my grandfather's house over on West Packard. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. The lights, I remember the lights from back then. Wonderful, exciting Christmas. And look at the presents. Presents were great back then. Look at the wrapping. Simple, but oh so exciting to open up those presents. My great-grandmother, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, aunt and uncle, and oh my, there I am, looking on. Hey, look, I've got a boat. I remember that boat. That was a bath time toy. Any of you remember those? They had a CO2 pellet that you put in the boat, and it traveled all the way around the bathtub. It was wonderful. Oh, I liked my boat. Boom! And there's Mom. Oh, I remember that. Great hugs. Did any of you have these toys? Look, he came back. You pressed him and wound him up, and he would come back to you. And there's the staple of the 1940s and 50s. I had an American Flyer electric train, and it came out every Christmas. My dad mounted the tracks to an old tennis table. And oops, that isn't Christmas, but that's Jack, my buddy. And I'm not sure exactly. I remember them. Oh, there's a Woody. We had a Woody station wagon back then. And there I go. Oh, that's not Christmas, that's Easter. Oh, but back to Christmas again. And there's the train. Really great. I'm excited. Did you catch the beer? It was a Schlitz. Oh my. Merry Christmas.
Anyway, those are some of my Christmas memories. Feel free to jump in. We'll.
Can
You
you
want to
hear me
add
now?
anything? Just
You know,
jump in.
my original drummer,
Some
my
of you-
original, I'm sorry. Oh, Paul, where you been?
Where have I been? I've been fixing the audio.
Oh,
The mysterious
Always gotta
Paul
work on
Brand is
stuff.
back. All right.
Right?
Well, Paul,
Yeah.
what's your Christmas memories, right quick? You grew up in
Oh,
Fort
well.
Wayne.
Yeah, I was between the ages of maybe 3 and 12, I guess, in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, we used to go down to W&D's, see Santa down there.
Hmm.
I couldn't tell you which one, but over the years, but yeah, and saw all the decorations down there. We had a coal furnace when we first moved out there. My dad moved out there in 51, out there by St. Show Park. What's Show Park today? Used to be all farmland when we moved out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had coal furnace and we had to put the coal in the furnace as boys did. And, keep that going. They didn't switch over to gas, I don't think, for about 10 or 15 years after they moved out there.
Hmm.
But yeah, and we used to have family get-togethers. We always had Christmas on Christmas morning until we all got older, when we started moving out of the house and got married and things. And my mom used to have Christmas on Christmas Eve because most of us had to go to 2 different Christmases. So, but when we were kids, yeah, we did all that. Can't remember too much. My mom hid the Christmas gifts underneath their bed in their bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
We used to, every once in a while, one of us would sneak in there. And, yeah, that's about all I really remember of it offhand.
And Michael, did you guys ride the trolley a lot?
No,
growing
I
up?
actually, I think when we arrived, we came from Toledo around 62. So I think by that time, the trolley had pretty much was on its way out or was gone by then.
Yeah, I don't read that by 62. Wow.
Yeah.
So 50s must have been 40s, the peak of the trolley.
we had those in Pittsburgh too, all the trolley cars.
Yeah.
They're all gone, all gone.
Well,
I heard
trolleys
that,
were the
legend
most,
says that trolleys
energy
were
efficient.
abolished by the,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I heard legends to the effect that trolleys were abolished by car salesmen.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, General Motors, I hope I'm right about this, but
It's funny.
systematically destroyed trolleys to make way for the automobile.
Right.
And rounded them up, and really a sad story, but I guess that's progress. Trolleys had those tracks and those
Mhm.
wires, and they were a really energy efficient way of traveling. And a lot of people rode them, so there was that community element. And I remember the
So
company, the two biggest employers were International Harvester and GE. And
Mhm.
you guys that grew up in Fort Wayne, either you have family members or friends, or probably know somebody who worked there.
Hmm.
My dad moved to Fort Wayne to work there.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
From Toledo?
Yep, he
Did
was
you work
working
at
at Art Iron, and they went out. They went on strike, and so he thought, I don't know what I'm going to do. So he started sending feelers out, and he wrote to the Chamber of Commerce of Fort Wayne, and they said GE's hiring.
Mm.
So he worked at GE?
So he came out here in '62 to work for GE.
Yeah.
That's funny because I
Yep.
graduated from college. My dad was a very good friend of Harold. My dad was a hotel man, and my first job would have been at International Harvester. I had two choices: International Harvester in Fort Wayne or a DJ in Paducah, Kentucky. And I chose to be a musician. But that's true. He knew somebody from International Harbor. I don't know who, but that was 1961. And I went on the road and came to Fort Wayne anyway.
My dad worked for International Harvester. And my brother also worked for International Harvester for a short time. And then my best friend's father worked for International Harvester.
Really?
Both my mom and dad.
Were you living in Fort Wayne then?
No, we lived in Huntington and my
But
dad
still in
drove.
Huntington. So
He drove
back
the
and
International
forth.
Harvester. And then when they went, and when everybody went on strike, my dad was actually one of the guys that went to Springfield, and he would go and he would live, I guess, that they had some sort of like an apartment or a trailer where they had a bunch of guys that lived there during the week, and then the guys would come home on the weekend. And he also worked in
Oh.
Springfield, Ohio for International Harvester.
And Paul,
Wow,
My
so
mom and
he
dad-
drove back and forth from Huntington.
Yes, and then Springfield, yes.
Another Fort Wayne thing is my original drummer, Ed Walters, married a girl who went to Central Catholic. Her name was Helen Tuco. And they've been married. They live now they live in Reno. He was the sheriff of Reno. They've been married since that day. And they got married in that church right across the street, the big Catholic church. I can't think of the name of it, right downtown, where Central Catholic used to be. I thought that was interesting.
They were both Central and Central Catholic.
Mhm.
Were right downtown there, about maybe 2 blocks from the center of downtown. So you'd see a lot of kids gathered around Murphy's back then. They had a record department. Remember records versus all this digital stuff, Paul? And
Yeah.
listening to records and getting donuts. Murphy's had a donut machine, as I recall. Any other memories of
Who was the famous
great, you guys are great. Just jump in if you have something to add.
there?
My mom and dad both worked at GE. In fact, they met each other at GE.
Come romantic.
You see pictures of dozens of, maybe not dozens, but a dozen trolley cars lined up when people were getting to work and picking them up from work there on Broadway at GE. You don't see a lot of people going to work on buses anymore.
Right.
No.
And it was a very stable job, as I understand it. I mean, my friends would have a family of probably like your dad, 2, 3, 4 kids. And that was enough. The mother didn't have to work. The dad didn't have to get a second job. I don't know if they had benefits. I presume they did. But all that stuff got moved for profit
So Paul,
to other countries, a lot of it.
okay, Paul, which
Mhm.
one?
Yes. Yes.
How old were you when were you born in Fort Wayne?
Yeah. I was born in 1948. So
You're
I
my
believe
brother's
mom
age.
said St. Joe Hospital. St. Joe Hospital.
So was I. Little bit before that, but St. Joe Hospital, yep.
They tore it down or nowadays, or what are they doing with St. Joe?
They're adding on to it. Matter of fact,
Lutheran is building a hospital on the backside of it,
my best friend
across the street.
was an attorney in Pittsburgh. His dad used to work for Westinghouse when Westinghouse was here. And I met him in Pittsburgh. I mean, he's my buddy for 74 years. But his dad worked for Westinghouse, and they moved from here to, and he was born at St. Joseph too. Hospital.
Hmm.
Brian Campbell was his name.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of St. Joe, it reminds me of a very bad similarity of an epidemic. Now we're having the coronavirus epidemic. Back then, probably a little bit, Michael, before, I think it might have ended about the time you're talking about in the 60s, but polio. And I was born in St. Joe and also in the St. Joe Children's Polio Ward in 1950. I had polio. I was very lucky. I recovered.
Really?
But a lot of those kids in there did not. And I will tell you that I don't know how long, probably 4 days around, I was in there. I mean, it's just a ward for kids with polio. It was as close to hell as you ever find on this
I
earth.
remember those days. As a matter of
Screaming
fact,
in the night. And I thought I was sick, and those kids were way worse. So that's a bad similarity.
well, Dr. Salk from Pittsburgh is the guy who discovered the cure.
Oh, yeah.
He's from
I
Pittsburgh.
forgot he was from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope there's something like that for this virus. There's a Dr. Salk somewhere for this virus to
Yeah.
cure it.
Yeah, I'm going through it now. In fact, my dad became I didn't know this until all this happened. My dad, well, he was an orphan when he was 5 because my mom and dad died in the 1918 epidemic. I didn't know that. I just found out from relatives when I was in California.
I think that social media is a big reason for the loss of community, but here we are on social media, and were it not for social media, we couldn't be doing this show. So I gotta say, there's good and bad to everything.
Depends how
I've heard-
you use social media, because social media can bring people together.
Pardon?
I said it depends on how you use social media.
Yeah. Exactly. Good point.
So each one of you, tell me, what do you think of Christmas nowadays in Fort Wayne? Michael?
Well, the thought that comes to my mind is that it's never as good as the Christmas you had growing up, because there's an innocence that you have in your life at that point. And Christmas is kind of a compass point to your childhood. And so you can always think back to your childhood. You always look back at Christmas, and it's always that special magic that you had as an innocent child that kind of fades as you grow older.
You know,
So,
my,
I mean, all the technology that we have today is great and wonderful. And my daughter will have that to look forward to when she grows up and look back at her Christmas. But yeah,
You Paul, new?
you talk about Christmas. My favorite song was The Other Side of a Big Hit by Gene Autry. We were talking about trees. The song is called An Old Fashioned Tree. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was my favorite song.
Gene Autry.
Yeah, I played it all the time when I was a kid. I don't know. I didn't listen to Big Hit, but I like The Old Fashioned Tree. And all my family's gone. Since I've been in Fort Wayne, I've lost everybody in my family. Not my kids, but my family I grew up with. They're all gone. You know, and I'm 80 years old and I feel good, thank God. And I've had some great Christmases here, but Christmas this year will never be like it was. And I hope to God that with the virus shot that we all, next year we can stop talking about this stuff, I hope.
You Paul. Brand, what would you like to say?
Yeah, well, this will be my first year without the family Christmas. Well, I guess last year I kind of had, because I moved out of my mom's and my family kind of didn't want me to come back. So I've been back for over a year now. So I celebrated Christmas last year with Norman and Jan, because I was staying with them for a while. But now I've got my apartment, a little bit different. So, but I think I'll get through it. Hopefully things will change in the future though.
You're coming over on Christmas Day, aren't you, kid?
Yep, my plans are, yes.
And now, Jody, what would you like to say about Christmas and what you're going to be doing and all that?
Well, I like to say that I've gotten through the whole Zoom meeting today without mentioning Christmas is actually my birthday. So
Happy birthday!
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yep. And so my mom
That's
was
a good thing about Christmas right there.
yeah, yeah.
Jody was born on Christmas Day.
I was born on Christmas Day. Yeah, I have a
Oh.
joke that I tell that it's me. So my initials are JD, and then of course Jesus Christ, JC, and Jimmy Buffett was also born on Christmas Day, so JB. So it's JD, JC, and JB.
Yay.
He was
Nice.
born. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh God.
So yeah, I mean, like Christmas for me, like just the whole thing. I mean, really, I think the thing about Christmas is that, we have all these special memories of when we were kids and just all the magic. Just being able to share with like one person. I mean, just for example, Sloan's Y Care, they made applesauce cinnamon Christmas ornaments, and they let all the kids, make them, cut them out, participate. And that's some of the old school stuff that we used to do, the salt dough ornaments. And you don't need the fancy technology and like the fancy things about Christmas to just like associate. And you have to really practice self-care. So, I mean, you can just really, like you, Paul, I mean, like, you're going to have to make some new traditions. So, if there was something about Christmas that you really loved before, like sugar cookies, go out and get yourself some sugar cookies. Or, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then share them with others. That's kind of the whole point of Christmas. And I would really like having my birthday on that day, just so, it makes it just a little extra special. And I'm really proud that I get
imagine.
to have it on that day.
Did you
Yeah,
get
we
your-
used to,
How about your birthday? Did
Go
you
ahead.
feel like you got this because the same day, your birthday gifts and your Christmas gifts? Did you ever feel that way?
You know what? No, I didn't, because my mom always did Christmas on Christmas Eve, just like you, Terry. We went to church and then we did Christmas on Christmas Eve, and then everybody came back over, or even more people came over for my birthday. She was adamant.
oh,
And
nice.
so we still get to do that. You know what I mean? That's kind of the game plan that I still get to do. And my parents are passed away too. They're long gone at this point. But I mean, it's still, I guess for me, Christmas, just the whole idea of just being able to celebrate, like basically on the same day as everybody else, like in the United States anyway. I know different countries have different holidays. It's just kind of the sentimental feeling and, just the love that we feel, and just being able to spread it to others.
My favorite part is going to midnight mass at St. Charles for 31 years. This
Yes.
is something about midnight mass. I just that's my highlight of my year. Really is.
One year I went to midnight mass and priest got a little bit too close to the candle and set his garments on fire. That was a really exciting midnight mass.
What church was that?
Queen of Angels.
Okay.
That's amazing. The first year that
Wow.
since I'm a single mom, the first year that I did not have my daughter because it was her father's Christmas, I worked a double that day. And I knew, we'd always gone to church on Christmas Eve, and I knew things were going to be different. And I really I was like, okay, well, it's just me, myself. And I was driving past a church, and I got off at like 11:30, and I was driving past a church, and I saw all these people going in, and I didn't even know what kind of church it was. And I was like, I knew I should be in church. And I was like, well, I'm going in. I don't know what kind I'm at, but as it turned out, it was the best thing, because we are United Methodist, and it was the United Methodist Church on St. Joe Road. And they had the most beautiful Christmas Eve service with the bell choir. If you ever have an opportunity to see their bell choir, it was unbelievable. And it was just like, I mean, I was home. It was amazing.
Wow.
Paul, yeah, Grant, what would you like to say? What would you like
Oh,
to
I was going to say that at Christmas time, I remembered my mom used to make all kinds of cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always good too, because we got to help her make cookies.
Where's she live?
Where does she live? She lives in the same place out by Shell Park that she did.
I know you live there. I know that.
Yeah, she's
We
still
need to
living
start a cookie exchange around here. If we like cookies and stuff, we need to get each other's numbers and drop some stuff off.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, guess what happened to me today?
What?
Well, we've got a knock on the door. Bob opens the door. People were gathering around, ladies were gathering around our door, singing carols.
Ooh.
And they gave us a little gift with a Star of David, whatever, for with Christmas on it. You know, our church did that, Assumption.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I had carolers come the other night. I think they were from a church. I wasn't quite sure. But anyway, it really lights up your spirits. Well, we can, if you don't have anything else, we'll wrap up here. I want to thank everybody. You guys were great. And just touch on a theme that Paul mentioned of Norm and Jan. Norm is the manager at Access Fort Wayne. Jan is his wife, both great people. They help Paul. And to me, that's what Christmas is about, whether it's the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. It's helping each other. And in closing, and all of you have helped me. I don't know Michael, and I do now, but I hadn't met him until tonight. And Paul, I knew, and it's a pleasure to meet you and always see my old friends. And that we're going to add at this point a few things from when it was a city. I wrote a song with Molly Brogan, local singer, who performs it called "When It Was a Trolley." Excuse me. Where of all the when it was a trolley? That show was when it was a city. Hello.
Try again.
Where have all the trolleys gone? To the Pete Seeger song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? She performs it beautifully. And that would lead us into the theme I just mentioned of John Swearenson, who's now the editor at What's Up, but then he was the editor of Allen County Photo Book. And he was the guest, one of the guests when it was a city. And he talked about nostalgia. And he thought nostalgia really was more of a present thing, that the past is something's missing in our lives. So we look at the past to fill it. I hope I'm getting that right, John. And then he also has a section, What Went Wrong. And but the section I'm really interested in is he closed it with, what do we do from here? And he said, love thy neighbor. And then he
Love thy
talked about
neighbors,
his
right.
grandmother going to get ice cream at the ice cream shop across the street. It was very moving, I thought, and I think that will make a good ending.
So, what do we do? And the first thing we gotta do is just love your neighbor, which means you build your city in a way that remembers those who don't have the advantages you do. You build your city in a way that, okay, I have a car, I have a house, I can drive around, but let's not automatically build out our cities in a way that make it difficult for those to take a bus to, say, Apple Glen, and the bus stops pretty much a grassy slope. Don't get off the bus when it's raining because you end up under it. So, remembering those who cannot have this, who do not have the same advantages that we have. So, in one sense, go ahead and live out there. This is before there was a high school at the Boyd Center in Homestead. Go ahead, but because our city has always grown, growth wasn't bad, but we kind of got it cockeyed. We forgot how to grow a city. We forgot how to do it right, and so we forgot all those people who cities were built for, which is for everybody, and gathering places. This is in my neighborhood. I live right down West Main Street, except it's that way, isn't it? And what was nice about my neighborhood at this time is that, yeah, you could live in my neighborhood, close enough to walk downtown. You could make silk stockings at the Wayne, well, I couldn't, probably if you were a woman you could. And then you could go shopping down at the store at Main and Osage and get your bananas, which was really nice. And so what I want to encourage us is to think about what can we do wherever we live to encourage that kind of mixed use neighborhood again. Because I'll end with a quick story. I was living in my house there in that neighborhood, and one day a woman came to my house and knocked on the door and said, "Can I come in and look at your house?" I was suspicious. And ends up that I'm owning the house that her grandmother owned when she was a little girl. So, okay, she sweet talked me. We let her in, and she remembered two things. Well, first, she remembered the great woodwork that we have in our house, which has been torn out of all my neighbors' houses. But the second thing she remembered more than anything is being able to walk off the porch with her grandmother, walk across Main Street, and go to the Cremo ice cream store and get a scoop of ice cream and come back home. That's the kind of memories I want my kids to have. The kind of memories where, yes, I can go walk and get a gallon of milk. I can go down and take my bike and go someplace. That's the kind of city we want. So I just leave you with this. I hope that our cities are no longer just things for archaeologists to find, but that all of us can eventually grow up and have the same kind of memories that the people who grew up in the 50s had.
Where have all the trolleys gone? A long time passing. Where have all the trolleys gone? A long time ago. Where have all the trolleys gone? Off to smelters, everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Where have all the passenger trains gone? Long time passing. Oh, where have all the passenger trains gone? Such a long time ago. Where have all those passenger trains gone? I miss those better more but one. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? And where has all our money gone? A long time passing. Where has all our money gone? Such a long time ago. Where has all our money gone? Corporations slipped up every last bug. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? And where has all the honest work gone? Such a long time. Where has all our honest jobs gone? Such a long time gone. Where have all the honest jobs gone? Off to slave labor, everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Where have all our leaders gone? A long time passing. Where have all our leaders gone? Such a long time ago. Where have all the leaders gone? Destroyed by corporate attack as everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Where have all the truthiness gone? A long time passing. Where has all that truthiness gone? Such a
Marvelous. Thank you. I wrote some words and she made it much better. Much better.